Greetings, travelers.
Greetings, travelers, for the very last episode of Jump Scare June.
I feel like we did really fun with Jump Scare June. We had a lot of horror people. We had a lot of cryptid people. We've had some ghosts. We've had a little bit of everything. And we even had some alien stuff. So I was very happy.
I think we did very well. And I think this is a perfect ending to our Jump Scare June. So I'm super excited because we have a special guest today that I don't know if you met him before this, but we met at the Georgia Bigfoot Festival. He was right next to me. He was at the next table, our neighbor, which was amazing and fun. We do have to say, though, that tomorrow technically the day this airs, you'll be at the Small Town Monster Festival.
I will be setting up while they're doing the night preview. And then the next day, Saturday, we will be at Monster Fest 2 in Canton, Ohio. So for the Small Town Monsters gang, our friends from Wild and Weird Radio are there doing a seminar. We've got a lot going on. There's some of the
Into the Fray, Shannon LeGros,
one of our will be there. Yes, our good friend Shannon, and a lot of great people will be in the vendor hall, kind of towards the back. It'll be me and Carrie. So
yes, unfortunately, I can't make it this weekend due to other obligations, but the two best part of the podcast, Mark and Carrie, will be there. So you can go get a nice signed autograph copy of something.
And if you're in Georgia, Clayton, Georgia is having World UFO Day. Our good friend John Stamey's hosting that. So if you want to meet some people down this end, if you're not up in the Northeast, head on down there for that. There's a bunch of other events. Lizard Man Stomp in South Carolina. There are so many events this weekend. You can find something cryptid related. So trust us.
Yes, there's it seems never ending, actually. But with that, let's introduce our guest. So this is George Lunsford, who literally wrote the book on cryptids and monsters internationally. I can say that, not literally wrote the book on it.
Yes.
So
true,
George, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Oh, well, you kind of tied everybody up into one with me because I used to be an actor in horror movies. I also do ghosts, UFOs, and cryptids. You got all in one.
Which is amazing. A diverse monster hunter. I like it.
When I was looking at your stuff at the event, I was like, wait a minute, this is very familiar. I know some of this stuff, and I realized I already had one of your books. So Monsters of America, one of the two.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
But we're so glad you're here.
Well, I am doing a sequel to that book. So, and Shannon is my publisher.
Oh, very nice.
See how it's a complete circle. It's a community here, people.
That's it.
Community.
That's it.
So let's do a little bit origin story for you, George, on who you are. So you started off as a horror movie actor? I didn't even know that.
Well, I've done a lot of stuff. I'm kind of an odd duck, let's say. My first real job was working at a factory. I didn't start out like most people at fast food places. So I went from the factory to the military, and then from the military to making explosives for the government, and then a lot of jobs in between, and now I'm here.
Wow. You made explosives for the government?
I did. I made destruct systems for the Triton, Titan, and can't remember what the other missile was. I made destruct systems. I made cutting charges. I made oil field perforators where you actually break a bit where you're drilling oil, and you drop this explosive down, and it blows the bit up, and then they just go grind on through it.
Okay, I can't even unpack that. I'm like in a place I can't even unpack that. So get to the horror movie part. Let's at least get there. Okay.
I was a part-time actor for 15 years. I did all kinds of shorts. I did 3 feature films. I've done commercials. I've done everything in the world. And I played everything from a vampire that was meaner than Dracula. I have played a serial killer with an axe. I've been killed by a lot of things. I played zombies and everything else.
Nice.
I love that. So then when did your first book come out?
My first one was a small book. I actually wrote Legends, Myths, Monsters, and Ghosts, the Southern edition, with a different publisher than I have now. So I did 4 smaller books, and it was, 7 years ago?
What made you decide to even go that path?
I decided I want to write books.
Okay, so you were like, I did acting. I've already played a zombie. Now I need to write books.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. Okay. So I'm telling you, I feel almost dizzy here, Mark. It's
Yeah, I'm loving it. So yeah,
okay.
this is great.
I'm the kind of person that gets something in my head, I'll do it one way or another. So
Well,
I basically taught myself how to write. Fortunately, I have the best wife in the world. If it wasn't for her, nobody would understand anything I write. So, she's the brains. I just write the books.
well, Mark has a very similar situation
Yeah,
because
I have a
Carrie is
talented illustrator for a wife. So
Oh, that's awesome.
she's the talent. I just do words.
That's
So,
me. I
yeah.
just write the words down.
so
He makes them readable.
obviously you were in horror movies and stuff like that as an actor, but what made you go into monsters? Like, did you have an encounter? Did you just hear about them? Did you follow where how did we get there?
Well, when I was young, The
Yes.
Legend of Boggy Creek come out,
Oh,
and we went to the drive-in to see it.
Okay.
And ever since that movie, I have been enthralled with Bigfoot, and then I got into all the other cryptids and the regular monsters on TV and all that. And I read books and read books and read. My uncle was awesome because he had a room, I guess you'd call a library. We call it the book room because you walked in, there was books from the ceiling to the floor, and all he read was science fiction and science fantasy and monsters.
I
So
don't
I
know
would go
anybody
in.
like that. I don't know any house.
Yeah, no,
I don't
I
know
don't
any
know
house
anybody.
anywhere like that.
Yeah, I don't know anybody like Mark's house that has that all over the place. But anyway, continuing on.
But that's what I did. I sat and read all the time. I read every book I could find on Bigfoot. I read everything on the chupacabra. I read everything on Dogman. Everything I could find, I studied and studied and studied on them.
Okay, so you studied, how much research have you done? Like, I know we talked right before we went on because we had Tim Dills on, and apparently you're going to do a Sasquatch hunt with him here
I
shortly.
am. Yes, he's my buddy. We recruited him for our group, and we also joined with his group. So NCI, which is our group, North Carolina Investigates, we joined up with Dirty South Squatching, which is Tim and Dwight and Bob and Jerry. We're going to be working back and forth with each other, and we're going to do a lot more. We have a lot more hunts lined up, and we're trying a whole different way of doing our trail cams, ways
Oh,
that most people don't do, and it's what things we've come up with. And if they work, I will definitely let everybody know so everybody can get there and change the way they're doing things.
Nice.
wow.
Excited to hear. So we will have already got a follow-up coming. I can already smell it here. So this
Go
is
ahead.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So, okay. Oh, so much. I almost feel dizzy. Let's go back to the monsters because one of the things that drew my attention was you have a book that covers international monsters, like yes, Monsters of the World, a reference guide. Let's talk about that book a little bit because, we have covered some monsters that are globally, and we have a list of other monsters because we have fans all over the world that go, hey, do one on this monster. And we're like, okay, that goes clickety clack on the list.
I'm working on one on a Norwegian lake monster from we got an email like 20 episodes ago, or no, I'm sorry, 50 episodes ago, and I'm finally getting to it. So.
Well, see,
Yes.
y'all are the reason you podcasters are the reason I wrote this book,
Oh,
because I have buddies that does drink beer no BS podcast. If I could talk, it'd be a big help. But these guys are great, and they wanted book that used for a reference guide for their stuff. They use my other book as their reference guide as well. But
oh,
I put all these monsters together so that podcasters would have something different to talk about. Because, like you said, everybody talks about Bigfoot, everybody talks about Dogman. Few people talk about Chupacabra. I put 104 different cryptid creatures in this book, and it also has 26 encounters that people sent to me in this book.
oh, wow.
So I did that for all the podcasts out there so they'd have a reference. Now, all the information is not in here for each creature. There's enough information to where you can talk about it. But if you want to learn more, there's always more to learn. No matter how much you have in a book, there's always more.
Yeah,
But
no, that's true. And a lot of those creatures, you could probably do an entire book on one of those creatures,
oh,
right?
yeah. Well, I thought was funny. I did one about this creature down in Antarctica. The Russians were doing a survey down there, and they had found a lake under a glacier, and they had drilled down to it, and they went down to the lake. When they got down there, they found this creature in the lake. They had 20 arms, and could shoot this toxin for 300 feet in the water. And the toxin would paralyze you and start eating away at you so the monster could grab you and eat you.
This
They
sounds
lost
like
several
something
people.
out of, wasn't this the whole entire premise of Thing from John
Kind of was,
Carpenter?
yeah.
I'm just
But the thing
yes.
is, the scientists have actually found another creature, and they've got it reported down in Antarctica with 20 arms.
Really?
Yes, they actually have it recorded now by a mainstream scientist.
I'm sad to report on that one that, as much as I hate to debunk things, but
Oh no, I'd love anything you want mine. You want to try
this
to
one,
debunk?
this
I'd be
one
tickled to
sadly
death.
was debunked because it was written by a fiction writer and it got
But
picked up by some of the mainstream news as a proper story. It was totally made up. That was like Owl's Crota.
oh, but wait, there
But
actually has been a creature found that matched the description.
they found something similar, but it wasn't as complex as the one that was originally described.
Right. They already overdid when they talked about it. But
Yeah.
the one people who debunked it or tried to debunk it was actually from Putin's administration. They debunked it because they wanted to use
that
see if they
debunk
could
got
use the
debunked.
creature. Yeah. See, so it's all a big mess. But the real creature looks exactly like what the article says it does.
What's interesting is that you look at it's so much more difficult because not that there wasn't, like, we look at the picture of the Hodag, like I go back to the original, like, hey,
the cryptid that was a hoax that may have not been a hoax. Yeah, that's the deep sea.
The strawberry feather star.
Yeah.
Oh,
what it's called.
That sounds like a jellyfish. You know what I saw the other day for the first time ever, and I didn't know this. It's good. I'm going to go a little left here. There's apparently a shrimp like that eyes are like have this weird thing where they can kind of move very independently, but also around in circles.
Yeah.
But apparently it punches its prey and it's so fast that it shatters things when it punches it.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's like the Bruce Lee's 1-inch punch. Supposedly, it's so much power in it that it breaks crab shells. And
snail shells. And I was watching it do this in videos, and it's this beautiful little blue, like peacock blue shrimp. And I was like, this thing is terrifying. I mean, it's not very big, obviously, thank God, but I'm like, nature is fascinating.
And that's, like I said, it's stuff we don't understand yet, but stuff we're learning is real out there. It's scary.
Yeah, no,
You're exactly
absolutely.
right.
Absolutely.
Well, you can always go with the tree down in South America that eats people.
Oh yeah.
Because the natives down there, they know to avoid the tree, but people visiting do not. And it's in a strange area. But the tree actually grabs you and sucks all your juices out.
It's like a Venus flytrap, but for people.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that at all.
Another one that we haven't actually found yet, but so many people have talked about it that there is actually a couple expeditions trying to find this thing.
Yeah, and the natives are usually keeping people away from it.
And it was the guys who did was it Douglas Preston? Yeah, who did Lost City of the Monkey God. Yeah, that was the book. His expedition was one of their sub things was, this tree's supposed to be out there. We might find it. So they were a little more concerned about boomslang snakes, but
I don't blame them for that.
Wow. Well, what about, okay, you just sidetracked. Then again reminded me of something I witnessed the other day, which was piranhas, because I think that there are so many things in the jungles and stuff in the wilderness that, there are little frogs that if you even touch it, you die. Like little poison, what is it, golden dart frog or some crap like that? That it's not eat it, it's touch it. And I go, yeah, no thanks. And then piranha, which look like these tiny fish. The movie Piranha made it seem like they were giant bass-sized fish that whatever. They're little tiny fish, but the quantity of them, and you'll go down like in moments. It's horrifying to watch how quickly those fish eat things.
Oh yeah, they can strip a cow in no time.
Yeah, I'm not on board for that. Okay, so now that I've terrified myself and I'll never travel again, man-eating trees, what was something that really, when you started researching it, surprised you, and then you went down a rabbit hole and found out it was completely made up?
I don't know. I've studied so much now, it all kind of runs together after a while.
What's your favorite monster that you've researched?
Oh, my favorite is probably still I like the Giants awful well. I love the Giants. Like the Giant of Kandar and all that. I like the theory behind the Giants.
What is the theory behind the giants?
Well, the Giants are offspring, distant offspring from the Nephilim. The Nephilim were wiped out during the Great Flood, but the giant gene was carried through one of Noah's stepdaughters, or not his daughter-in-laws, carried the giant gene on through after the flood. So we still have giants. They're just not as giant as what they were before. Like the Nephilim
Okay.
were up to 20 and 30 feet high. And the giants now, a giant now, by the definition of giant, is any human or over 7 feet tall. So we have giants playing in a NBA. And Andre the Giant would have been a true giant.
Yep.
Yeah, well, he was huge.
7'7", I think that's what he was.
Our good friend Michael Marzella was a king at the Renaissance festivals down there. He was like 7'6", 7'7", and he and Andre were they shook hands, and their hands mashed when they shook my hands. It was like ripped my whole hand with one finger. It was crazy. So,
Yeah, well, you know the guy that played Jaws, Richard.
Richard Keel.
Yeah, he's awesome guy. I knew him, and I would shake hands with him, and all you'd see is my wrist sticking out.
Yes.
He was huge.
He would do that on purpose too, just to mess with
He
you.
was the nicest guy though. Man, he was awesome. I actually sat and had lunch with him a couple of times and sat and talked to him.
Okay. Did Dolly have braces in Moonraker? That's the Mandela question. Did the girl have braces when she teamed up with him?
I have no idea.
That's my hill to die on. So
Yeah, no, Mark's gonna die on that hill. We keep going back to it. And whenever parallel dimension Mark is supposed to be in right now, has Dolly with braces. He's just stuck here with the rest of us. Okay, so what is you have a new book coming out in December though, right?
I do. It's
Okay.
called Legends, Myths, Monsters, and Ghosts, the North American edition. It's going to have stories from different, well, you have Canada, America, and Mexico for sure. But then you also get them from Haiti and Cuba and several of the other islands. And I'm going to throw in a few of the American territories in there too, like Puerto Rico and some other places.
nice.
And I'm going to tell basic just stories of their different folklore that I'm going to put out there for everybody, and creatures if they've got them.
Oh,
Like,
that's
I think there's one in the islands it's a creature that its feet's backwards. So when the villagers go after them, I think they're going the right way, and they're actually going where he's already been.
Oh, wow.
Love that.
That's clever. That's very clever. So when is the book coming out?
According to my publisher, Shannon, them, it's supposed to be out December 1st.
Oh, that's
Nice.
very
We're going to do
exciting.
pre-orders and everything for it. So
Oh, that's
Wonderful
super
holiday
exciting.
release there. So
that's what we're shooting for.
Holiday monsters. And then I did ask you, what is the next show you're gonna be at?
I believe we're going to be doing the Bigfoot conference in Newport, Tennessee. I think that's in September.
Oh,
okay.
that's very cool. So how many books will this make for you?
7,
Wow. Wow.
but only 3 will be available. The other 4 has been taken off the market.
Oh, were those that first 4 from that?
Yeah, the first little ones. I combined those plus added stories to make the first book.
Oh, that's very cool. That's very cool. So have you found, besides this backwards walking thing, whatever it is, which sounds terrifying, have you found any other really interesting creatures you weren't aware of?
Well, I'm still doing the research, so I really can't say yet. But I am going to throw in my first encounter with Bigfoot in there.
Oh, what is your first encounter with Bigfoot?
My first encounter with Bigfoot was in East Tennessee.
Oh,
We was on an expedition, and I won't give all the details now.
just a
I'll-
little
I'll-
teaser,
I'll-
a little teaser.
Just a
I'll let
tease,
you
yeah.
know I was 20 yards away from him
Oh,
in a direct line. I was on this hill. He was on this hill. I thought he was a shadow till he moved.
wow.
Ah,
Then he moved. He was looking for my partner, and he was looking to see where he went to. My buddy that hunts with me, he was looking to see where he went to, and he stretched out, and I could see him from the waist up.
Oh.
And we give him the nickname Alfalfa because he has hair sticks up on top of his head. He has no neck, but he has hair sticking up on top of his head. Has a conical head. And when he stood up, I seen where he was at on the limb. And when I got over there where he was at, we actually measured it. It was 8.5 feet.
Wow.
And he was about 4 foot from the shoulder to shoulder.
Wow. That is a big boy. Or
Yeah,
girl, I guess.
And I'm not real bright. I like to chase him instead of running away from him. So,
Well, that violates the Erika version of how I do things. I believe in not chasing such things. I think that seems like a terrible idea.
Well, I'm an ex-squid and I'm a mountain boy, so that's just not a good combination in the woods with monsters. We're going to chase it down.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
We're not real bright, but we're fun.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, you're you could be used as a bad example. I appreciate that.
True.
Like something
I do that often.
Something has to be the bad example, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to get some more of your personal paranormal stories. So we will be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Destiny Beard, the lyrical soprano who will haunt your dreams. With her alluring melodies and intricate harmonies, this dark siren of wistful song shall capture your soul and lead you into the night. Check out Destiny's new single, The Haunting Is Over, with international musicians Sam Haines and Gary Bennett, as well as her other musical works at destinybeard.com.
The sweltering heat of the Florida sun breaks as a chill runs down your spine. A dark shadow looms from a nearby tourist trap. You didn't expect to find this kind of shade in Florida. If only there was some sort of travel guide to steer you through the spookier locales. Well, you're in luck, reader. Join author Mark Muncy and Carrie Schultz as they lead you through the darkest locations in the Sunshine State in creepy Florida. Available from History Press and at fine bookstores everywhere.
We are back.
We are here. Oh my goodness. This has been a lot of fun, George. Now, you've got the book coming. We've talked about some of your early experiences. Let's talk about what's one of your most memorable experiences on the hunt for monsters.
One of the coolest things was last time we were out. You're not supposed to whistle in the woods.
Oh.
Well, that kind of doesn't work with me, so I whistled in the woods. And I actually did it 3 times, and I had responses all 3 times.
Okay, I'm not going anywhere on hunts with you, George. I'm just don't even ask, because it's never happening. You're violating every one of Erika's rules about going out in the world.
Well, we were going down the trail, and I don't
care what direction we're going. We don't do stuff like that. What are you thinking?
I can't help it. I want responses. And I'm hard-headed.
Well, at least I know I don't have to outrun them. I just have to outrun you. Okay,
That's
good.
True. That's true.
So, okay, you're whistling 3 times. Continue on.
Well, I was going down the trail, and I'm always in the back. I'm always the back guy. And before I whistled, I heard something. I heard, and I stopped, and I thought, what is that? So I asked the guys, I said, y'all say something? They looked at me like I was out of my mind. Well, we went a little farther. It happened again. Come to find out, this is called samurai chatter. It's supposed to be when Bigfoot is talking and you hear it. I don't know. I just know that I heard something that wasn't natural in the woods where we were at.
Yeah.
So
Bigfoot's like, stop whistling. You've been warned to not whistle.
I hadn't whistled. Anyway. I hadn't whistled yet. That's the only thing. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to whistle. And they're going, no, don't whistle. I said, I'm going to whistle. So I whistled real loud. And up on the mountain to my right-hand side, I heard back. Just as clear as a bell. I thought, oh, that's pretty cool.
Wow.
That
So
sounds awfully familiar, Erica.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
mess around there for a little bit. We start back. We leave back in sections, so we're not together anymore. One of the guys goes, he gets so far and he called one of the other ones and he went. And right as he left, I whistled. I got another whistle mid mountain on my left hand side.
Hmm.
I thought, oh, this is awesome. So I walked down through there and I look, and one of my buddies is down in the ravine and he's doing something. He's holding his radio up, and I realized, so what are you doing? He said, my radio don't work. And he's fighting these bushes and everything. He's trying to get through the briars. Of course, I'm laughing at him. So I decided to whistle again. Well, 15 feet in front of where he was at, I get a whistle back.
Oh.
I don't like that.
So he gets back up where I'm at. I said, did you whistle? He said, whistle? No, I didn't whistle. I was in the briars. So I keep waiting and waiting. I don't get anything else. Nothing else happens. And we start back down the trail. We get down the trail and we hear something parallel us in the woods.
Oh,
We never
wow.
do see it, but we hear it.
Mm.
So that was one that will stick me for a while, because I did what you're not supposed to do.
Well, I'm going to say somebody told you so. I don't know who it was, but somebody told you so.
Everybody told me not to whistle.
Yeah, that's rule number one. Even I don't do that one.
But I can't help myself. You can't tell me not to do something, because it's going to happen.
I now have clearly pinned what kind of child you were as well. So,
oh, sweet and lovable, of course.
oh, you have to say that with a straight face for anyone to believe you.
That's true. That's true. My wife is looking at me really funny right now.
Yeah, of course, because she's like, bullshit. Total bullshit. Okay. So there's more, though. I know there's more.
You said you're also into ghosts and UFOs, so let's
I have. I've had 2 UFO encounters, and I've had tons. I died once and come back.
Whoa.
So
Whoa. Hold on. You don't just drop that and then walk on to something else. What do you mean you died once?
I had pneumonia, and I don't go to the doctor, which she fusses at me a lot about. But I reached a point, so I was so bad with the pneumonia that I was lethargic at home, couldn't hold my head up, couldn't hold myself up. I had over 104 fever for a couple of days, and I was almost gone here, and they forced me to go to the hospital.
Yeah, I can't imagine why.
They literally picked me up and threw me in the car and took me to the hospital. I got to the hospital. They went bonkers, started pumping IVs in me and doing all this stuff and putting cold blankets on me and everything else. Well, sometime within the first day or so I was there, I don't really remember exactly what day it was.
Okay.
But I was laying in a bed and I felt good. I was like, wow, this is awesome. I feel wonderful. No pain, nothing hurt. Everything was clear. I looked up at the clock and the clock didn't move. And then this little woman beside my bed started talking to me. Little old lady, and she was talking. She said, it's okay, honey. Just calm down. I said, well, I'm not excited. She says, everything's going to be okay. So I sat up in the bed and I jumped off and I looked back and I was still in the bed.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, well, this is odd.
This is odd. That was your thought. Okay.
It was so calming. There was nothing, you just didn't, it was the best feeling I've ever had in my entire life. Because nothing had there was nothing, nothing to bother me. Everything was calm and collective. And over the corner of the room, there was this big figure that looked like an angel. All you could see was a shadow, but he had bluest eyes you ever seen in your life. They stood out. They were so blue.
Okay.
And I didn't even get anxious in because it was just a relaxing feeling. And as she's talking to me, these people start walking through the walls of my room into the room. And they all walk up to me and they're introducing herself for some reason. I have no idea why, but they're all talking to me and introduced herself and everything. While I'm talking to everybody. And Angel raised his hand up and this little dot of light formed on the side of the wall. And all of a sudden it went poof, and the whole wall was light. Not reflective light, just a light. It was nothing like I've ever seen. Well, each one of the people started walking into it and they'd disappear in the light. And everybody kept telling me bye and they'd walk into the light. Then it was just me and the lady. And I thought, well, I guess it's my turn. So I went to walk and she grabbed me by the arm and she said, no, 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 darling, it's not your time. You get back into bed. Everything's going to be just fine. Okay. So I got back into bed, didn't argue with her. So got back into bed and I laid down and she walked over to the light and she stopped and she waved at me. And I just waved back at her and I laid back down. And next thing I know, those alarms are going off and people are freaking out and my door is open and people run in. And the nurse jumps up there and I look at her and I said, what are you doing? And she almost passed out. She stopped. Everything just stopped immediately. And everybody started walking back out. And she looked at me and she said, you know what happened? I said, I don't know. I guess I was in bad shape, I guess. I don't know. She said, well, I'll put it this way. You wasn't here. I said, yeah,
Oh,
well, I
wow.
walked over there. And I asked her, I said, I want to ask you some questions. And she said, okay. Now I give the lady's name. And I described her to a T. And she got the whole color of her face just went whoop, was gone. And she said, that lady died before you got here. The day before you got here, she died in this room. And I started naming all these people off that had introduced herself and they had died in different parts of the hospital.
Wow.
Oh, that's creepy as
And
hell.
it was awesome. I mean, it was a great feeling because, like I said, there was no worry. Everything was just leveled out, just calm. But the weird thing was, after that, for a long time, I seen spirits, dead people, which was kind of wild. It was kind of freaky. And it never scared me, but it kind of freaked me out to begin with. Then after a while, it just got to be old hat. I guess that's why I don't have it like I used to. Like I could be riding down the road and it'd pop up in the car beside me and start talking to me. And it would be where somebody had a wreck and got killed and they needed permission to go on.
Wow.
And I had one, I have to pass a graveyard. There's graveyards on both sides of the road. And I drive, and right there there's a bridge on this side you cross, but there's railroad tracks go underneath, and then you're on past the road there. It used to be every time I come down through there was a old black man who had passed away. It was on one of the graves on the right hand side down by before he got the railroad trestle. And I'd drive by and I could hear him laughing and he'd flip me off. And he'd just laugh like everything. And this went on for, I think it was a year, maybe 2 years. And I finally stopped and walked down to the grave. And I got his name and I started asking people at the church and everything about him. Couldn't find out this guy was a jokester when he was alive. He loved, his biggest thing was flipping people off he didn't know and laughing. And he did that, and I went there and talked to him at his grave, and he didn't flip me off anymore. He just laughed like everything every time I drove by.
Nice.
Wow.
It was pretty cool.
That sounds amazing.
That's pretty epic. I like that. Please let that be me.
Oh, Mark,
it was
there
pretty
are
cool
so
for a long
many
time.
entertaining things that you'll be doing. I have
Oh,
no
I know.
doubt.
I know.
I'm hunting somebody. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Probably my wife.
Oh yeah, that'll happen. So, all right. So now you're going Bigfoot hunting soon.
I am.
So, have you done that before?
We've done it a few times so far.
Okay, and are you doing it out on Tim's property or?
I don't know where Tim's got by. He's got his own research areas. So we're going to go hit his this next time. And we're probably going to go back to our East Tennessee ones in late fall, early winter.
Okay.
That's the best. It seems to be the best time over there.
Well, it's also the least hot. So yeah.
less people over there too. That's another thing.
Yeah, that's the nice thing. You avoid the Cades Cove travelers and stuff like that. So
yeah, well, we got this awesome dogman track once when we were over there. It was 5 inches wide.
Wow, that's a beast.
And
Yeah.
we take random pictures while we're there because they'll show up in the pictures and stuff. And one of the pictures, I did not realize at the time, but 10 feet away from me in the woods, there was a dog man staring at me.
Oh,
That's really good that you walked away. Because they're not
Well,
nice.
I'm gonna catch one of them too.
You're gonna. What are you gonna do once you catch it?
I'm gonna get a selfie with it or something, but I'm getting close to him.
Have you seen what happens when tourists take pictures with elk?
That's true. That's true.
Okay. Have you seen what they do when they take a picture with a bison? Now, think about that with human intelligence and bigger claws and bigger teeth.
Well, just because they go back to 400 BC don't mean they're going to outsmart me. I mean,
Okay. This is painful almost hearing you say stuff like that. It's almost painful. I'm like, wow, you are literally, again, stating what a bad example you are.
knows no
am, but
fear.
I
Knows no
want
fear.
to have the proof, and I'm going to get the proof
All right.
one way or another.
right.
So,
One way or another.
Al-
Even
already
if
died
you-
once. You know, there's
yeah,
no. There's
I'm an
no
old hand at it now. So,
Oh my gosh, I don't even know what to say to that. Well, did the paranormal experiences like stop at a certain point or slow down or what happened there?
they slowed down quite a bit as I've got older. I mean, that happened when I was in my 20s, and I'm way past that now. I'm 57 now. So, it kind of slows down as you get older, I guess, because you're getting closer to that point.
Oh my gosh.
Especially doing the stuff I do. So, uh,
I think the ghosts are even like, dude, we're keeping our distance. This guy's crazy.
he
Exactly.
ain't right. We don't want to talk to him anymore.
Exactly. They're like, you know what? Let's just follow him because it's
He'll be
inter-
joining soon.
He's entertaining as hell, so we're gonna watch this.
Were you ever scared by the encounters?
No, only thing that's ever bothered me as far as encounters go. Well, I'm scared to death of snakes, but that's beside the point. I went to a friend of mine's house, and the house was way over 100 years old. They had used it during the slavery times. And the house, when you got to the house, it felt cold. It felt just, your whole body just felt good. Even your skin, you could feel your skin almost rolling when you touched it because it was just that really bad feeling. He said, I got to show you something. He said, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. So we go downstairs, and it's a dirt and rock basement. And there had been sails cut into the rock, and they had metal doors on them that still had where people had been chained up inside of them.
Oh.
Right? Well, we're there, and this cold feeling hits us. And now he has 130-pound, 100, I guess it's 150-pound rock water. And the dog starts crying and backing up between us.
Yep.
Just trying his best to get behind us. And we see this shadow come out of one of the cages and starts moving around the room, and it had red eyes, and it starts moving around the room. We went upstairs. So as we get upstairs, the dog passed us. It was upstairs before we was. And I'll come up and he come up. And after he come up, we turned because we heard something. And this shadow come up the stairs and come along the wall. And you could hear this kind of like a grumbly sound. And like I said, the red eyes just feel like it was piercing through your soul. And this thing moved across the wall and went up on the ceiling and was headed over top of our heads. And I said, dude, I'm going to the house. That's been the only time I've ever been nervous or really scared of anything as far as anything paranormal or anything like that.
So,
And yet
shadow figure.
Friend continued to live there.
Well, he didn't stay there long. They ended up leaving, whenever they found another place.
Yeah, that would have been me that night.
Erika would have burned it to the ground and
The
just
entire place.
Yeah, I didn't go back over. I was like, no, I'm done. No, thank you. He lived in some weird place though. He lived in a apartment that used to be part of a TB hospital that was extremely haunted. I lived in a haunted house at one time. I went to haunted high school.
nice.
Haunted high school?
Yeah, my high school was Irwin High School, and it was built on Potter's Graveyard.
Yep.
And what they did is they supposedly had moved the graves to somewhere else, but when they went to when they first started construction, they scooped up, and bodies come up with the scoop. So they had to come in and move what they could find, and they never did get all of them. And when you be up in the band area or some certain parts of school, you would hear people that wouldn't be there. You'd see shadows move, Doors would open by themselves. You'd hear footprints going down hallways where there was nobody at.
Oh, wow.
See, you wonder what's wrong with me. I've been around this stuff all my life. I can't get away from it.
Oh, I'm not wondering. I just know something's wrong with you. I'm not wondering at all. Not at all, my friend. Well, and you lived in a haunted house?
I did. I had a trailer over the part here, and where the trailer was sitting at, I did research on after we started having the paranormal stuff, and a family had died there from tuberculosis, and the Indians wouldn't get close to that area for a long time. They considered it cursed. But there was a mother, a father, I think she was a 16 or 17-year-old daughter, and I think the kid was like 10 or 12 years old, the son. And they all died of tuberculosis. Now, I never seen or heard or had any experiences with the mother or father. But it was funny with, I called her Bertha, the daughter. My kids were crying. One night, my daughter was crying. And I get up to go find out, why she's crying, to see if she needed a diaper change or whatever. And I open the door and I hear, shh, 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 shh. And I see the blanket. It's being like somebody's patting it.
Oh.
And my daughter went right back to sleep. I said, thanks, Bertha, and turned around and went back to bed. But she always watched over the kids. She always watched over the house. Now, her little brother would play tricks. Like you'd be sitting there and all of a sudden you'd see a face in the window and you turn to look and the face would be gone. Then you'd hear laughing. Or you see something go across the yard real fast. But Bertha was, me and my first wife divorced. Well, Bertha didn't like that because another girl come into the house.
Oh.
And I had to throw some change up on the table before I went to work. And I get this crazy phone call. I'm at work. She's freaking out. She's going nuts. The coins the coins are rolling off the table and falling, hitting the ground and rolling across the floor, stopping, doing a 90-degree turn, rolling and flipping over on heads. And she made a perfect circle with the coins.
Oh, wow.
I didn't date
some
her
sort of
long.
message.
Yeah, I didn't date her long. She ended up leaving.
Oh.
I can't imagine why.
Bertha didn't care for her, so
Hey, she may have been protecting you from something, you
That's
never
true.
know. Sounds like
So,
she's looking out for the family. So
Yep. So I've had some fun encounters.
So what's your most recent encounter then?
Heard a few voices going by the graveyard. Seen a few shadows moving in the graveyard. That's about it. There's usually not a lot goes on in the graveyard. Most people think there is, but there really isn't. Most of it goes wherever they had their death at.
right.
Yeah.
That's what we've discovered too with
Yeah.
the teams we've been with and stuff. So yeah.
I've had a lot of wandering ghosts come through. We had me and my wife was sitting here, my wife I have now. We were sitting here and my Ring camera goes off.
Mm-hmm.
So we flipped to it on our phones and this white mist shaped like a person comes out of the side of the house, stopped in front of the Ring camera. And I guess the part that's supposed to be its head turned and looked like it was looking at the camera, turned back, and then went straight off the end of the porch. And we ain't seen it since.
Wow.
Something on the land.
I don't know if it's me or the property or
Oh, no, it's you.
what.
It's you.
Thank you. There for a long time I did attract them because I had broke that veil and I could speak to them and everything then. And I give them permission to cross over. And that seemed to be what some of them just needed, is permission to cross over to the, go on to their forever life. And that was kind of fun for a long time because I felt like I was doing something worthwhile, like I was helping them out, find their way. But it's not been nowhere near as bad as it used to be. Now it's just every now and then I may hear something or see something, but it's nothing like it used to be. They still pop up in the car every now and then.
I can't even imagine that, if I was around you and with any more frequency, there'd be a lot of things being burned to the ground. So my question though, wouldn't it scare the crap out of you having something just pop up next to you? I don't care that they are evil intention, but just having something suddenly show up next to you is kind of creepy.
Well, when you're driving down the road, you usually hear something before and then you feel it. And then you look over in the corner of your eye, you'll see them sitting there. But once you get used to it, you can actually look at them, and they'll talk to you, and they'll ask like, "What happened?" or "Why am I here? Why do I feel this way?" And then you just, after a while, it don't even phase you anymore. It's like, yeah, you're okay. You go ahead and pass over. Everything's good. Your family's already mourned. It's time for you to go on to the other side, and they'll go.
I'm not hanging out with you. I just,
Yeah, I get that a
travelers,
lot for some
I'm
reason.
now regretting sitting next to him at the
Oh, man.
convention. Because had I known, I would have switched chairs with Mark in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Too close of a proximity to this craziness.
I just call it life.
Did you ever actually, because you do Bigfoot Dogman, you're doing some cryptid hunts, I guess is the word. What about ghosts? Have you actually intentionally, besides dying and doing that in a cool way, have you ever intentionally gone like ghost hunting, I guess?
I've been a few times. Most of the time I'm able to just debunk them before anything, because we went to one. I'll give you an example. We went to one of them, and the people swore because there was a guy shot there, and the family members still owned the place, and it was in a store, and the guy was murdered.
Okay.
Usually that leaves a really bad feel to the place. Usually it leaves something residual, like hatred, because it takes hatred to kill somebody, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So we go in, we're running some instruments and checking things out, and I get there and I feel nothing. I mean, I don't feel any kind of presence. There's nothing there to indicate there's ever been a spirit there. I walk around. We did some EMP stuff. We did some where you sit by yourself and EVP sessions. We did different things, and everything that they started telling us that was going on was, this place set on a solid rock foundation, and there was a main road not that far from the front door. And they said, well, things are moving and falling off the shelves. I said, you got trucks running right outside the door here. You could feel them when they drove by. You could feel the vibration from just a pickup truck. And there was some big trucks went down that road. And then they started saying all this stuff, and I was able to go through and show them exactly where everything was. There was no ghost there.
Sometimes that's what you got to do with this stuff, and it's good that you do that. So now let's get back to folklore real quick, because we're gonna have to wrap sadly soon. But back to folklore. Your book's about folklore. I'm a folklore enthusiast myself and all that, and I love holler monsters. The family stories and all that.
Oh yeah,
past generations and stuff like that. So what do you do when you're researching them? You get the story. Where do you go from there? What is your process?
I try to find every variation of the story, as many variations as I can find of each story that I wrote, that I put in my books. That way I can get a bigger picture of what the story should have been to begin with, and what's been passed down, and what's been exaggerated, or what's been added to it. And then I'll take it all of it and I'll combine it all together and make one story out of it. That way I don't leave anyone out, just in case, if it is real, we have a true story somewhere in the story itself. Now, when I did the ones for the Indians, there's no variation.
No.
They pass down word for word, generation to generation. There's no exaggeration. Everything stays the same, except for the Hopis. The Hopis love to tell stories. And if you got the book, you've read the Hopi stories.
Yep.
They're
The Hopis,
wild.
Yeah,
They're a trip.
They definitely they had some magic stuff to make their stories a little more juicy. Yeah, definitely. So,
and they're long. I didn't find any Hopi stories that were short. It's like reading that everything that they wrote could have been a movie.
Yeah,
it's just that way. The Cherokee, all the Cherokee and the Sioux and all of them that I did, there was no variations in any of their stories. And I went over to Cherokee. I work in Cherokee at least once or twice a month, every month. So I talked to a lot of them over about some of the stories. The hard part is actually getting the elders to tell you about some of them, because they won't speak about certain things ever.
Yeah, no, it was pulling teeth to get stuff about Spearfinger and Stonehead.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah,
it's like, and
the
they're
little
the
people.
well-known ones, let alone some of the obscure. So,
well, they found bones of the little people over there.
Yeah, the moon-eyed
did excavation.
Yeah,
Yep.
crazy stuff. Crazy stuff.
I want to know what happened between the Cherokee and the Sukaloo, because at one time they traded back and forth. The Cherokee Bigfoot traded back and forth with the Indians, and then one of the chiefs did something wrong to the Sukaloo, and they just separated away from them for a long time. From what I'm hearing now, they're getting back to trust between them now, but it's still a little iffy.
Interesting. I hadn't heard that, so that's good to know.
New and weird questions done.
Okay.
No. Okay, so let's. You guys, I could tell if I let you, would just keep going and going and going. So
I'm sure that there's going to be more in the future. So
yes, I have no doubt.
Appreciate
So okay, because we do have to wrap up. George, shameless self-promotion time. Where do people find you in your books if they're interested?
My books are all on Amazon. You can check them out. I got Legends, Myths, Monsters, and Ghosts, the USA edition. And then we have Monsters of the World reference guide. And if you do podcasts, they're really good books to use for reference guides while you're doing podcasts. It gives you those days when you really can't think of what to talk about. It gives you something to go with. And I like to be helpful. But the new book is called Legends, Myths, Monsters, and Ghosts, the North American edition. You're going to get stuff from Haiti, Cuba, Mexico, Canada, all kinds of places, all kinds of stories. I really can't get into all of them because I haven't finished my research on them. So
understood.
No, that makes sense. And it's exciting. So that we've got a new book coming out. And where can they, you're a part of an organization in North Carolina, which you were just mentioning, NCI. What's the website for that?
We have a Facebook page. It's NCI, North Carolina Investigates. I'm also part of Bigfoot 911 out of Marion, and we work with Dirty South Squatching, which is Tim and them. You can reach me. I'm on Facebook. I'm on I don't know. I'm on a bunch of stuff. Just look me up. If you put my name in Google, you're gonna get about the first 4 or 5 pages in Google is gonna be me. So because you'll have the acting stuff, you'll have the stuff from IMDb, you'll have all kinds of stuff pop up. I'm like a bad penny. I just keep showing up. Of course, you got my website, which is author George Lunsford .x10host.com.
Okay.
Wow.
We'll have all that in the notes for everybody.
George, thank you so much for joining us here on Eerie Travels.
Thank
it was
you.
exciting to meet you the first time. Next time, Mark is definitely sitting next to you. Not going to. Don't need that. No.
We'll do it. We'll whistle together there, George.
That works. That sounds good.
All right.
Sounds like a terrible plan. But with that, folks, Mark, take us away.
All right, gang. Thanks so much for listening. As always, thanks to our Patreon subscribers for keeping us on the air and let us keep broadcasting and interviewing amazing people like George here. And for those of you going to see us at Monster Fest tomorrow, come up and say hi. Check out eerietravels.com to see where we're going to be next. We've got a bunch more appearances. July is already filling up, and then we've got August and September is insane. With Mothman Festival, Flatwoods Festival, all that fun stuff. Can't wait to see you all at all these. And then Smoky Mountain Cryptid just announced for October. We're going to be at that. So keep an eye on the website. It'll have all the latest and greatest. And with that, I will just simply say, when you head out in the woods at night, keep your eyes open for the giants. Keep your eyes on the sky for UFOs. And if you have an illness, go to the hospital and talk to the nice lady at the foot of your bed, and she will tell you wonderful things and introduce you to some amazing people. And we'll see you on the other side.